It's time once again to go racing.
The pressure is really on now.
And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Premier Sim Gaming League's YouTube channel for round number 5 of this PC F2 Championship. Today we are headed to Monza, one of the most iconic circuits in F1 history. Of course, the first ever Grand Prix being held here back in 1950, and of course the last time we were here in real F1, the win was taken by Pierre Gasly for AlphaTauri. But in PSGL PC F2 last time out, we took a trip to Zandvoort for what was, let's say, an interesting race. I think the less said about it, probably the better. But it was not a great race for the standards. We do have some news. We'll get onto that in a minute. But my name is Dan, and I'm going to be bringing you through this stream. Unfortunately, alone tonight. My co-commentator, usually King Kodiak, Chris Buxton, he said he wasn't able to make it tonight. So I have, I'm just by myself. Which is fair enough, but let's just have a look at the calendar. Of course, 4 rounds completed, and we are here for Italy in this one. And we'll just have a quick look at our track map here. 5.793 kilometer long in circuit with 2 DRS zones down the longest straight, and of course under the old circuit, and then 11 corners to complete what is going to be around about a 1 minute 17 second lap, if I'm not mistaken. Here we are with all the statistics just in front of you here. Of course, we are at Monza in Italy, the Temple of Speed it is known as. 27 laps around this 5.793 kilometer long circuit. In terms of time, it's actually one of the shorter races, which is actually understandable given how fast it is. You're taking a lot of this circuit flat out almost, as the strategy today is pretty nice on the tyres. I would say it's soft to medium or medium to soft if you're starting outside the top 10, and the world record in real life is a 1:21.046. But before we get into the 18 minutes of qualifying action, which we do have coming up soon, let's have a quick look at how we finished last week. And of course, it was this man here, Paris Burrell, to take the win in Zandvoort in what was a crazy race, to say the very least. I'll have a quick, just little rundown of all the point scorers from last race. Paris Burrell, of course, won the race. Andreas Dormeyer in second. Third for Get Owned. Fourth was Oscar Villacampa. Sixth with TF10 Boehner. Then I believe that Sixth is Tom Martinez. 7th is CRG Smasher. We'll get onto him in a minute. Then 8th, if I'm not mistaken, it is Yari Fitz. 9th for Piotr Stahalek, and then 10th for Samuel Bean. So some of the guys right at the top of the order, they did not have great races, and we'll just quickly have a look at how this all affects the driver standings coming into this week. Samuel Bean does lead the way by a pretty comfortable margin at the moment of just 9 points over Get Owned, who yet again has put on an impressive performance, and he has now scored 2 podiums so far this season. He's been really good in that Haas car. Piotr Stahalek, after what was a pretty disappointing race last week, I would say, he lines up currently in in third position, just 1 point back from Get Owned, and slight ways down, of course, the Belgian Grand Prix winner of Jeffrey Ritchie, then Sam McBride in fifth on 20 points. Andreas Dormeyer with those points here, it's boosted him right up the standings. He's now on 16. Same for Paris Burrell, who hadn't scored before this. Granted, he only did one race, and that was in Belgium. He didn't finish that, but he did take 16 whole points. And then Tom Martinez slowly been making his way up the standings in 8th on 12 points. Christian Sendel on 9, and then VRT Norbert Jakob is in 10th. And I won't read out the rest of the points, but the rest of the order does go like this. John Evans, HX4K in 11th. Ruben Pedreño, Chanakinchi, Oscar Villacampa, Dylan Warren, Ika Boehner. Then we've got Neon in 17th. Christian Hausmann 18th. 19th for Ules Zildrum, who I would actually have expected to be higher up in the order. And then as I'm just getting more invites, I do apologise there. Yari Fitz, Louis Welch, who I actually expect to do quite well today. Floris Fears, Antoine Denzelski, and then Joshua Kazani, as we are just a little bit of the way of getting into the race, but all the drivers, if I'm not mistaken, they are getting into the lobby. We've got 17 at the moment. We will quickly pull over to the Constructors Standings and see how that's all lining up. Haas are so far the pick of the bunch. They're on 50 points at the moment. Great joint efforts between Get Owned and Jeffrey Ritchie. They sit second and fourth in the drivers' standings. Now they're topping the constructors, so great team effort from the pair of them. Alpha Tauri in second position at the moment. Most of those points coming out from Piotr Stahalek, but Ruben Pedreño, his efforts have not gone unnoticed. Currently 12th in the standings on 10 points. Then Williams in third with a lot of those points as well coming out from Samuel Bean. Been very impressive this season. McLaren in fourth, fifth for Red Bull, sixth is Ferrari. Aston Martin in 14th, Alpine in 14th, in seventh on 14 points. Alpine on 8th. In 8th with 13 points. Then Mercedes on 10, and Alfa Romeo, it has been fixed. They are now at what their points should be. They're on 3 points after Yari Fitz's efforts in the last race. But we do have to, of course, state out the obvious coming into this one, and that is what went down last week. Of course, if you caught that stream, it was not great at all. But we do have some news from that, and I think it is actually worth the first introduction of the breaking news, because we have had some pretty big stuff come from last week. Most notably, 2 drivers coming to this one have race bans. Sam McBride and HX4K, both for reasons I don't think I want to go into too much, but I'm sure you would have known from the last race if you watched it anyways. But they have both come into this one with race bans. And then the other big bit of news is that we are actually running under some new game conditions. One of them includes simulation damage, which is a bit nerve-wracking, but it is sort of to encourage drivers to be a little bit more clean, of course. And I believe the safety car has been put to reduce, so a little bit of changes coming into this one, but it's not too awful, I would say. I think I've got high hopes for Italy. Of course, Zandvoort is a circuit that not a lot of people have had experience on, so to say, because of course it only came out on the last game, and they've only done 2 races in PSGL, unless if they were in F1 last season, but they're coming into that one pretty under wraps, I guess I'm trying to say here. But Italy, of course, they've all known it for years. I'm just trying to see in the Discord who we're waiting on. We're waiting on Get Owned, and then we'll get ready to go into this race here. Very excited for this one this evening. We've got 64 live viewers in the chat at the moment. I'm going to read out everyone's messages at the moment. We've got some support for Tom at 97. Of course, Tom Martinez, he's been pretty impressive so far this season. He's been in the points pretty much most races aside from round number 1, and he's really been up there. He's been consistently quick. I remember in Belgium he was fast, and of course he was on for a great drive in Zandvoort, and then I believe Steam actually smited him rather than Cody's. Steam just decided, you know what, we're not going to let you race tonight, sorry, and unfortunately, he disconnected when he was in a great position to take the win. And I certainly think he could have done it. He's going to come to this one with a vengeance. I'm seeing a lot of asking about Jan Ortmeier. Of course, he's racing tomorrow at the same circuit of Monza. Make sure you catch that at 7 p.m. I'm seeing what we have got for the quali format. We have got the short qualifying coming up very soon. So 18-minute session for drivers to put in the fastest times that they can physically muster. And we will see how that all goes for them. We're just loading into the session now, and we will not be too far off of qualifying. We've got 27 seconds. Of course, everyone's just locking in their tyre choices, and we will be underway very shortly, everybody. Hold on to your horses. It's going to be a brilliant qualifying session. I'm just going to have a quick little swig of my drink here, because I feel it's going to be a little bit sore on the vocal cords tonight. As there we are, got 6 seconds left, so I will bring you all over to the race scene very shortly for 18 minutes of qualifying. There it is. They are loading in right now. I could just see loading complete right on my screen there, and let's go into our race scene here. And you can see it's nice and sunny over Monza tonight. So let's see, this is all a little bit quiet at the moment, little lull period before everyone gets out on circuit. F1 starts tomorrow at 7 p.m. Be sure to not miss it, because it is still a brilliant league. As we've got someone coming out the pit lane. That's either Neon or Dorma. I think it's Neon. Neon's going to be the first one to pull us out on an outlap. And I'm just quickly going to actually bring up my little spreadsheet here that I've got beside me. Neon, he's not had the best season so far. He's only on 6 points at the moment. Currently sitting in 17th in the championship. His teammate all the way up in 7th. So he's going to be seeking a vengeance, I would say. I think he wants to get up the order, and he's going to look for a decent amount of points. Chanakinchi, also a driver who I don't think is going to be too happy with how his season has gone so far. He's currently in 13th on 9 points. So 2 drivers that are really going to be looking to bolster their performances. We'll have a full rundown of our lap from Shazoo Neon here. Just coming through the Lesmos at the moment. Of course, he's got to run his out lap, try and get as much heat into the tyres as possible to generate all the grip that he can. And we're just right on board with the Honda powered car. I love the sound of this engine. As you can see, he's coming down one of 2 DRS straights, and he has actually got his DRS open. And there it is. Just we've seen him go underneath the old circuit. Now, if you look back at some very old races, you'll actually see how it used to be. They had a huge banking section. It was I believe it was a longer lap, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to turn on the track map here, as through almost towards Parabolica comes Neon. He's going to run it out as wide as possible to begin this lap of one of the most historic and treasured F1 circuits. What a joy it would be to see a possible Ferrari take the win. Villacampa and Norberto have got the Ferrari in their blood at the moment, and they're really going to be searching for a good race. But through the first chicane comes Neon here. He's taking that very nicely, and off the exit of the corner through Curva Grande, the flat out right hander. He doesn't have any traffic in front of him, bar a Haas car just up the road through the chicane. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Delarogier chicane. And through here, very brutal. If you get onto that inside curb at the second part of the chicane, and if you ride over it, you're going to surely get floor damage, which is of course not fixable. As here he comes through the Lesmos now, and off the exit of the corner. I don't think he'd be too happy with his run through Lesmo 2, but down the straightaway with the DRS open. Neon, what's his second sector split time going to be? It's going to be a 52.3. We're going to be expecting around about the mid-17s, I would say, for pole. And oh dear, Neon unfortunately invalidating on that run there. So we'll run on board with Chanakinchi on a set of the medium compound of tyres in the Aston Martin car. Of course, looking for a stronger result. Belgium probably was his best opportunity to get some decent points in that one there, and he did indeed pick up a good few. He got 6 points out of that run there, but he's going to want more, and he knows he's got the pace, and he's going to come into the pit lane, and that was just an installation lap from him, if I'm not mistaken there. As we're right on board. Who should we go on with? We'll go on with VRT Norberto. We do have some drivers further up on laps at the moment, but we will see Norbert Jakob come through here. As it's a 52.2, so similar times to what we saw from Neon, and he has kept it valid. Christian Hausmann going to be the first man to set in a time, an 18.241. We'll see if VRT Norberto can best that. Currently 10th in the standings at the moment on 10 points, as we'll see him coming through the Parabolica. Nice little roundabout, not roundabout section. It's going to be an 18.5 for him. Denzelski also put in a lap, but he, well, that's definitely not representative. You know what? We'll catch a lap from, we'll catch one from Paris Borough. I think we'll get a full lap from last week's race winner, and he's a driver that we certainly got to watch out for this one tonight. It's coming through Sector 3. Yellow flags are appearing. Don't worry about them. Of course, it is just drivers going out for... they're slowing up so they don't catch traffic in front of them. It is a pretty smart thing to do to back off, but there is a lot of traffic coming down in towards turn 1. There's about 3 cars at the first corner. This is really going to hurt Paris Borough. He might have to back off here if these guys get in his way. It's Neon and Samuel Bean, and there's Pedreño off the circuit as well, coming close to contact between Samuel Bean and himself there. And somehow Paris Borough's got through quite nicely, as Neon's going to pull off to the right hand side. It's going to be a 26.0 for Paris Borough through Sector 1. Not sure I'll be too happy about that. It was a big slide coming through there. At the second part of the chicane through Lesmo 1 and coming up towards Lesmo 2, taking this in 6th gear, really revving out that Mercedes engine and short shifting up to the DRS straight. Andreas Dorma has gone 2/10 clear of Christian Hausmann, or just a little bit under that, and I think Jeffrey Ritchie, I was actually VRT Norberto crossed the line for an 18.3, so we did 2 back-to-back laps, interestingly enough, as Paris Borough now, he's just flown through Ascari. And on the run up towards Parabolica, we could see some tactics come into the race from these drivers and backing out so they can take DRS down the straightaway. So we might see those mind games. Stalag, what a time from him. At 17.9, it's the first driver to go into the 1:17 17s here. And a brilliant lap coming out from a driver that I tipped to do very well this evening, as I believe, I'm trying to see who else is on a lap. I think we've got to catch Yari Fitz towards the end of his, and unfortunately he's invalid, so we'll go right on board with Neon, who's actually not, it's his teammate then of Andreas Dorma, probably on the in lap. So I'd say the furthest driver up at the moment is going to be Tom Martinez, as he's got Neon right behind him on a set of the soft compound of tyres. If I'm not mistaken, he is indeed on a set of the Red Bull tyre, and he'll be quicker than Tom Martinez at this point. It might be wise of him to possibly back out here, because of course Tom is of no obligation to let him through if he's going for a time lap, and there it is, Neon's time's out the window anyways. I'd say that is also down to, getting onto the gravel almost there for Neon, but I'd say the dirty air really was not going to help his cause. And so not too pleased with that. It's Tom Martinez, 52.3 through Sector 2. He's not too far off some of the times that we've seen at the moment. He could be possibly ahead of both Mercedes cars. As Tom Martinez coming through the straightaway in towards Parabolica he comes. We're right on board with him towards the end of this lap. He has to slightly lift mid-apex, and that's going to hurt his time and his run coming onto the straightaway here. Running it tight to the line, and it's going to be an 18.5, splits the Mercedes, but he did manage to jump Antoine Denzelski on a set of the medium compound tyres for Tom Martinez. As we'll see if we can find someone else on a lap. Chanakinchi, I don't think he's pushing on this one here, as time has just come out from an AlphaTauri car. So that's Ruben Pedreño going to second position there. Really pleased with that one, I would say he would be. Just a bit shy from his teammate, about 3/4 of a tenth off of his teammate. That's got to be something to be pleased about. We're on board with Samuel Bean, a 25.8 through Sector 1. There's a fairly competitive time from the Williams driver, dipping a wheel into the gravel. That might not help him through Lesmo 1 and up towards Lesmo 2, running it wide on the exit and coming in towards the right-hander. As he invalidates it off the exit there. A little bit too much speed coming through there, and he just ran these touch a bit wide. So 9 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. We've only seen 11 laps come out from these drivers. I'd say a lot of them are struggling to put in their times. And so I think Neon's actually on a second push lap here. And this he's already been on this set once. So they'll be slightly worn out, and I don't think he'd want to start this race on these tyres. As you can see, sliding through the final corner, but it's coming towards the line. No, he's going to back off, come into the pit lane. I don't think it was going to be a too competitive time from him regardless, as Samuel Bean also pulls into the pit lane. I think Ikebaena has just begun on a lap, currently on an 18.399. So he's not too far off of Norberto, just about a tenth shy off the Ferrari car. We'll see if he can find a couple tenths on his lap. As only 6 tenths down. I don't think he's pushing on this one then. So we'll see if we can find anyone else who's actually on their out lap. I think Andreas Dormeyer will catch him. He's currently in third at the moment, and just 200ths shy of Ruben Pedreño. So I think it could be pretty easy for him to jump onto the front row of the grid. As here he goes, he begins his lap, his second timed run of the session. It's coming in towards turn number 1, braking just before the 100-meter board, locking up the front tyre, taking a very nice line through there. I think he'd be pretty pleased with how that lap has started so far. In towards Curva Grande in the 42 Red Bull car that won at Zandvoort in real F1. Coming off of a podium, I think Andreas Dormeyer, who actually won on circuit last week. I think he'd be pretty confident with how his pace is looking. He's already a half a tenth up on his previous best time, so he could be challenging the likes of Stahalek right at the sharp end of the order, who is on an out lap. So he won't be too far from setting a time. I think he's actually just begun that one. He's letting everyone by. He is the yellow flag through sector 1. As almost a full tenth up on his previous best is Andreas Dormeyer. It's not enough to top the provisional pole time set by Stahalek, but he can get close. He can do all he can try. As coming through here in towards Parabolica, coming through the final corner. What can Andy do? As rising the gears off the exit of the final corner. This could be provisional pole for the Red Bull driver. And indeed it is by 0.02 of a second. They're jumping Piotr Stahalek. And that is got to be one that he might not be feeling too comfortable about. But it is enough, just by a smidge. Less than a blink of an eye between those pole times at the moment. That is something to be chuffed about. As we won't catch Villacampa on this lap just yet. We'll see if we can find, I think Antoine Denzelski is in the final sector. He's not pushing on a lap at the moment, so it's going to be one of the Ferrari cars. Jari Fitz goes to the top. What a time from the Alfa Romeo driver there. What about Norberto? Can he go up the order? He goes into 5th position, jumping Jeffrey Ritchie and his teammate. So time's coming thick and fast at the moment. We'll see if we can possibly catch someone also at the end of their runs. Both AlphaTauri cars in the final sector, but they're on out laps at the moment. Chanakinchi's about to come to the line, if I'm not mistaken there. He's invalid, unfortunately. There's another Haas car just in front of him. That's going to be get owned towards the line. What's he going to do? He goes into 10th position, 18.4. He has still got some time left to find in that run, as we'll catch Dylan Warren towards the end of his lap. We got yellow flags through sector 1, just drivers backing off on their times. Dylan Warren, here he comes through and across the line. It's going to be 12th position for the McLaren car on his own tonight. His teammate is not here, of course, serving his ban. Samuel Bean with a very wide line through there, but he has managed to keep that lap valid. We'll actually catch Denzelski, who just can't really catch a break at the moment. He's 4 tenths up, but he's also invalid. So that's a time pretty much out the window for him. Samuel Bean, look at that. 51.7 from him there. Spaniard wrestling the car through Ascari. That could lose him some vital hundredths of a second. Drivers pulling off to the right-hand side to give Samuel Bean the run in towards Parabolica. The number 26 Williams car, he's not been able to put in a time just yet, but he could join his teammate right at the front of the order. As here it comes towards the line, Samuel Bean, can he do it? He goes into 5th position on a 17.9, something I've just picked up on. Ikebaena, who's just put that time in very recently, it's actually done the same lap time to the nearest 1,000th of a second as Andreas Dormeyer, which is crazy to think about how close this grid truly is. As he pulls into the pit lane. Stahalek wasn't able to put in a valid lap time. What about Pedreño? I think he's actually just begun on one. He's getting a tow. I'd say an unintentional tow from the Red Bull car. Neon has just completed a run. I think Pedreño's going to be pushing here. Coming through the first corner. Bit of a slide off the exit. I'm just going to have a quick drink of water through Curva Grande. You can listen to the luscious engine noises here. As there we are through the first sector split. Pedreño a little bit down on his previous best time. And he backs out there. So I don't think we have anyone on a timed run at the moment. I'm going to check the live chat, see if anyone is talking. Let's see. Yes, we do have simulation damage on there. And someone's asking who's got the ban. It is currently 2 drivers that have got bans, sadly, just for this race. They will be coming back next week, and those drivers, I think we've actually just seen a lap come out there from Tom Martinez, was it? It was Tom Martinez, improved by 7/10 of a second to go right up into 9th. 9th's not a favourable position to start in, but you know what? He can find some time if he can get back into the pits as well. And I think he'd be pleased with how this session's gone so far. As yes, 2 drivers that have bans are HX4K and Sam McBride for their actions in the last race. I don't really want to mention them. I think I just kind of want to put this this whole Zandvoort saga behind us, to be honest. As hopefully this race will rectify it. We do have simulation damage on for this one, so hopefully that incentivizes drivers to be clean. Of course, they know that the simulation damage is on. It's not like it's a surprise. It's not like that. They have been made aware that simulation damage is on, so they will be driving quicker. As Chanakinchi leaves the session, he is in the pit lane, so that's not going to cause any issues. As yellow flags through sector 3, that's Tom Martinez pulling into the pit lane. As Christian Hausmann is going to be the first driver to put us out on a lap. Hausmann's been pretty impressive so far this season, I'd say, filling in on a number of occasions this week. He's coming in for the second. Oh no, he's not actually a reserve anymore. I did forget. I do apologise, everyone. He is now full-time Alfa Romeo, and I'd say he's been pretty decent this season. I do feel bad for him, of course. He didn't get any points last race, even though he did finish. As here we go. To begin his lap, Christian Hausmann. He's going to have a bit of traffic towards turn number 1. Hopefully they all do their best to get out of the way, and they've done that pretty nicely. So coming in towards turn number 1, Christian Hausmann goes. The number 2 Alfa Romeo car off the exit. As Dylan Warren's out of the session. And he's been that on the straight. You can see him further back behind. He's somehow crashed it on the straightaway. That's going to be him taking no further part in this qualifying session. P16 is the best he can do. As Christian Hausmann tipping a wheel into the gravel. We'll see him through Lesmo 1 and in towards Lesmo 2 here. I think he's actually backed out on that run. So we'll catch who's behind him, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's Jeffrey Ritchie, winner of the Belgian Grand Prix. And he's revving his car, so he is also off of this lap. He's aborted, but that is sort of the beauty of going a little bit earlier in the end of qualifying. They do have two potential runs that they can put out. So here's Getones. He's also backed off. Everyone's backing off here. They're not confident in their abilities, and they're making their mistakes. As Villacampa will ride on board with him as he catches the curb. And I think we went on board with him at the worst possible moment as he rides over the curb, gets airborne there, and he almost sends it into the gravel, but he luckily did manage to get back on circuit pretty cleanly there. But I think his pride might be slightly hurt as all these drivers backing off early on their laps. I guess we can find we'll ride on board with Norberto. As at the moment, I do believe it's just less than a minute. I see someone asking about that. All the yellow flags are making it very difficult to see. As Norberto not up on his lap. And he's not going to be too pleased with this one here. As we still can't see how much time is left in the session. There you go, 20 seconds left for the drivers to complete their out lap. So I'd say Chanakinchi is going to be the last driver to start his run. As Norberto riding over the curbs there. He's got an Alfa Romeo car in front of him. It's either Jari Fitz or Christian Hausmann. Dylan Warren's back in the session as Norberto. He won't be too pleased with this lap. as the clock is about to strike 0. Chanakinchi didn't make it. He just missed out by a fraction. That's going to be his qualifying completely over here. The best he can do is P10. See if we can catch Neon. And unfortunately, he's invalid. So what about Jeffrey Ritchie in behind? Is he on a lap? He is on a lap. Christian Hausmann goes into 9th position. We'll catch Jeffrey Ritchie at the end of his lap. Running very wide there. And somehow keeping it valid. But coming up towards the line. As, oh, there, Neon. Right across the line. Spinning the car. And there's going to be contact between the pair of them. Just showing that simulation damage does work. As Stahalek's about to come to the line. Unfortunately, invalid on his lap. What about Pedreño, though? He'll be very pleased with how this lap has gone. As Get Owned is just in front of him. But here comes the young Spanish driver towards the line. Can he find a good improvement? He goes 2nd position. Just a slight bit shy of Jari Fitz. That could be qualifying all over already. Tom Martinez is going to be the next one to cross the line, though. Currently in 11th. I think he'd be pretty pleased to start here. As his teammate goes in to 12th. And you see Tom Martinez, yeah, he backs off his lap. He wants to start on the alternate strategy. As Villacampa coming up towards the line. He'll be the last driver to put in a lap. Oh no, he's going to pull into the pit lane. So Jari Fitz is going to be the man on pole position for this race. Rune Pedreño in 2nd, 3rd for Andres Dormeyer. That's your top 3 coming to this one. But Jari Fitz with a 17.846. That is going to be the pole time tonight. And thank you very much to Carter Lundy. I always see him donating super chats. I thought I'd mention this one. He's donated 2.79 Canadian dollars. I guess 2 Canadian dollars and 79 cents. I think you use cents in Canada. I'm not too sure. But thank you very much for your super chat there. Everyone give some love to Carter Lundy. As we're just sitting on board with the stricken Haas. There we go. Here is our full qualifying list here. Jari Fitz on pole, Rune Pedreño in 2nd, 3rd for Andres Dormeyer, 4th for Ika Boehner, and then Piotr Stahalek in 5th. Look at how close that top 5 is, just 0.07 of a second separating all of them. Samuel Bean in 6th, 7th for Norberto, 8th for Jeffrey Ritchie, then 9th for Antoine Denzelski. And rounding out the top 10 is going to be Christian Hausmann. But I'll pull you over to the intermission screen so we can talk about the pundit predictions coming into this one. I've gone with Piotr Stahalek to win this race, and that is simply because of the pace that he showed last week. Even though he didn't have the result to show for it, he did set the pole time, and he also got the fastest lap in the end. Kodiak also went for the same option. Of course, he's not here tonight. Big C has opted for Samuel Bean, which I do think could be likely, actually. And Wilson Hughes, he's gone with Louis Welch to win this one. Starting from P12 is not undoable, especially on the alternate strategy. So we'll see how that all goes for him there. As we are getting ready to start our session. You can just see the clock is counting down. You know what? Let's ride through our track map once again. 5.73 kilometers long in length, and then 2 DRS zones for the drivers to utilize down through here. And of course 11 corners in total around this circuit. And let's just see all the statistics. We're gonna have 27 laps around the one of the most historic and most raced at circuits of Monza. And we're likely to see a soft to medium or medium to soft, but I'll bring you back over to our race scene here, because they're just rolling off on their formation lap. As let's get a full rundown of the rest of the grid that we missed out on. So Tom Martinez in 11th, 12th for Louis Welch, 13th for Chanakinchi, Oscar Villacampa in 14th, 15th for Shazoo Neon, and then Get Owned. He's currently 2nd in the championship, but he's all the way down in 16th at the moment. And then Paris Burrell, last week's race winner, all the way in 17th position. I don't think he'd be too pleased with how his qualifying went. There's Dylan Warren starting right at the rear of the field. He's got nothing to lose in this race, and I think he's going to be looking for a strong one here. There's Jari Fitz running us on our pole lap, on our formation lap. Just have a look at all the tyres. It is to be expected. It's a complete split. Of course, the top 10 have to start on the same set of tyres they qualified on. I'm saying someone to move the mic away from my mouth. All right, I will. You'll hear some little microphone movements, but there you go. You know what? I'll take another sip of water as well. My mouth is so loud. Lovely. Blame my microphone. My microphone is nice and very, very clear. You can get all the clarity in my voice. And it would probably be a bit better if I had a co-commentator with me tonight, and then you wouldn't have to hear me as much. But here we are. Jari Fitz coming through Parabolica. And he'll be the first driver to see the lights. Hydrate, yes. Gotta hydrate. Everyone make sure you got some water and you got some popcorn as well, because this is going to be a cracking Grand Prix. 27 laps for round number 5. You barely heard the sip. Lovely. Lovely, 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 everybody. Get ready for this race, because we got the last couple of drivers pulling into their grid slots. Dylan Warren is going to be the last driver, and then we will get ready for the Italian Grand Prix as they just slowly ease to a halt here. And then all that is left is just the crowd noises. But then it all builds in anticipation, because the lights are on. It's 5 red lights in Italy. And we are underway for round number 5 of the PC F2 Championship, and already Ruben Pedreño's get a good run on Jari Fitz in towards turn 1. They're going to run wheel to wheel. They're almost 4 abreast, further back behind yellow flags as Oscar Villacampo already out of this race, as Piotr Stahalek trying to challenge his teammate. The VSC already snaps the action to a halt here, as more contact further back behind. Villacampo somehow already out on lap number 1. Before we even got to the first corner, as, oh dear. The VSC is out. Villacampo's stricken Ferrari sits in the middle of the circuit. I think that'll be heartbreaking for all the Tifosi that have pulled up to the Italian Grand Prix. And they see their Ferrari car already out in quick succession. It reminds me of the last race, of course, that we went to in real F1, where both Ferraris didn't finish, but they're picking up the speed. So I think we're going to get ready to go very shortly here. Jari Fitz, he's got the he is the pace setter at the moment. As when are we going to get back underway? The damage has been cleared. You can see on the track map, Villacampo's car has been removed of. It's just a waiting game. You can see Pedreño getting very close to the back of Jari Fitz. He wants to go as soon as possible. And Andreas Dormeyer also getting pretty close to the back of Iker Baena. Can we get back underway? That is the question. We've almost done a whole lap under VSC, as we've already got a pitter. And it's going to be Piotr Stahalek getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh dear. That might be a bit of wing damage for Baena, for Stahalek. We'll see if the Alfa Romeo mechanics are going, and there we are. We are getting ready to go here. As Pedreño had a look at the inside of Jari Fitz. We're back underway racing on lap number 2. It says lap 3 on the top left, but do not pay any attention to that, as Pedreño going to be closing onto the back of Jari Fitz here. And don't pay attention to the timing glitch we see on our screens at the moment. Jari Fitz leading. Seems like Iker Baena wants a little bit of a slice at the action. He's looking onto the back of Ruben Pedreño. And unfortunately, he can't find it there. I'm seeing Baena illegal overtakes. Well, of course, if he gets reported for that, then it'll go right down. But here he goes onto the back of Ruben Pedreño. We'll see if he wants to challenge for a move. It doesn't seem like it. Of course, DRS not been enabled yet. Lap number 3 is when we get back underway with... we get the... sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted by all the live chat at the moment. Everyone is popping off at the moment, so it's lovely to see. But DRS does come online. And Neon is actually overtaking Louis Welch here. He's gone up into 11th position, but DRS now enabled. The first taste of it is going to be down towards Ascari. Jari Fitz sets the fast lap of the race. We'll see if Pedreño wants to go for a move in towards turn number 1. He's already struggling to keep up with the Alfa Romeo car in his Alfa Tauri. That's going to be very difficult for me to differentiate the two. There's a little bit of a snap of oversteer for Iker Baena, but he's managed to hold it very nicely indeed. There's not too much happening at the moment. This track is pretty common for DRS trains, where all the drivers feel the benefits of DRS, and essentially nobody benefits from it. You can't force an overtake because it's very difficult to even get close to the car behind. But here we are. We're getting our first licking of the DRS action here. As Rim Pedreño is not at the best exit in comparison to Jari Fitz, but he has got the DRS. Can he go in towards Ascari with a move here, or is he possibly going to wait in towards turn number 1 next time by? And he'll actually make his intentions pretty clear. If we're thinking about it, because if he doesn't go for the move towards turn number 1, well, we know what he wants to do. He'll likely wait until the pit stop window comes, and then he'll overtake whilst they're coming into the pit lane. But here they go through Parabolica here. Bit of a slide for Jari Fitz. That might kill his run in towards turn number 1. Can we see Pedreño potentially go for a move? I think he's lost a bit of time actually to Jari Fitz, not even using his ERS, so he doesn't want to go for this move. He probably could have made that move stick if he wanted to, as Norberto having a half look up the inside of Samuel Bean. So we're concertinoing up at turn number 2 there, on the run up towards Curva Grande. They're all tight-knit at the moment at the top of the order, and Norberto pushing onto the back of Samuel Bean. Can he go for the move in towards the chicane? And now a Hail Mary dive bomb would have been ridiculous from him, and he manages to hang back. Antoine Denzelski also looking into this fight, and he'll be looking to secure his first points of the season. Chanakinchi gets past, gets owned. Both of those drivers without DRS from the rest of the train. Here comes Denzelski though, on the back of Norberto. He's not going to use his overtake to go for the move. I don't think he wanted to make it happen in towards Ascari. It's very difficult to run side by side between the pair of them into that chicane. So he backed out, but he could go for the move potentially into Parabolica if he wants to catch Norberto off guard. As he goes very deep on the brakes. And normally if it was on full damage, he probably could have went into the back of him there and gotten away with no damage. But of course, on simulation damage, it is very unforgiving as they all fly down the straightaway. At max power, here comes Norberto onto the back of Samuel Bean. I think Andreas Dormeyer also wanted to have a half look. As Samuel Bean goes defensive to the inside line, Norberto's going to try and sweep around the outside. Contact between the pair of them, and Antoine Denzelski now going to get the run out of the exit at the corner. Jeffrey Ritchie as well, trying to go wheel to wheel, side by side, through Curva Grande there, 2x2, Noah's Ark style. Jeffrey Ritchie on the outside line of VRT. Norberto, they're not giving each other an inch, coming in towards the chicane here. Can he go for the move? Who's going to back out? Who's going to be the brave one? They're still going to run wheel to wheel. Jeffrey Ritchie has to go off the circuit, and he's lost a number of positions there. Samuel Bean having a look up the inside of Christian Hausmann, coming out of nowhere. Now Christian Hausmann looking up the inside line of VRT. Norberto in towards Lesmo too. He's made that move stick. They've given up a lot of time here in all this battling. Here comes Samuel Bean now coming through this straightaway. This moves further back behind Tom Martinez on the medium combat tire, getting involved, getting a licking of the ice cream, and he's gone for the move. Samuel Bean around the outside line of VRT. Norberto, I think he's just going to keep on tumbling down the order, because here comes Tom Martinez off the exit. Yellow flags. Louis Welch out of this race through a scar. And Jeffrey Ritchie comes out there. He takes the move. Safety car is out at lap number 5. Wow. And that could spark some action down at the pit lane. And indeed, the top 4 all putting into the box. I've had to have a little bit of a sip of water after that one. But all the soft runners and a couple of the medium drivers as well pulling into the pit lane for a new set of tyres. And Andy has gone on to the hards. The rest of the grid, aside from Jeffrey Ritchie, they've all opted for the medium compound. So Jari Fitz, of course, our net leader on the set of the mediums. Pedreño in a net P2. As they haven't actually caught the back of the safety car. So they're going to have sort of a run where they just go around circuit. Not under safety car conditions. They're going to have the delta. As you can see, the safety car just pulled off to the right-hand side to let all the drivers through. Everyone's saying when's PSGL F1? F2's right now. F1 though is tomorrow at 7 PM. Be sure to not miss it. I think I can plug stuff whilst we're under safety car conditions. 7 PM tomorrow, commentated by George Morgan and Jack Canan. They'll be taking you through the action around this circuit, the same circuit we are at today. And it's going to be a brilliant one, to say the very least, as the safety car, they all just roll along at the moment. I wonder if Denzelski is actually going to try and pit. I think he will want to pit. He won't lose out. because they've all been following under Delta. It's not like they've all caught up to the grid, and then, yeah, he's going to pull into the pit lane. That's a smart move from Denzelski. He probably just missed the pit lane. That's what I'm thinking here, and then he actually probably purposely overtook the safety car, so everyone could get a bye. And that leaves Tom Martinez in the lead of this Grand Prix. And I can already hear my voice going down a little bit, so have another little sip of water, everyone. As old dear Paris Barrel, I've just noticed, is also pitted in behind his teammate. As Louis Welch leaves the session, understandably. Denzelski is actually going to come out. He's taken an advantage. Avoiding the pit lane might have been the smartest move. He's actually pulled. He avoided the pit lane and went past the safety car. And he avoided all of the traffic. That was a master stroke, actually, from Denzelski. He's jumped a number of positions. He jumped Boehner and Dormeyer. So 2 positions there. Wow. That is brilliant stuff there from Denzelski. And he's managed to jump up into a net P3. As we continue along under safety car conditions. I think whilst we're in this period, everyone, we recently surpassed 8k subscribers, and we've also recently passed 4,000 on Twitter, on our social. Of course, if you want to follow that, it's PremierSimGL. But I'd also just like to say a massive thank you for everyone. Hey, if I keep drinking water, if I don't drink water, my voice dies. I'm sorry. I can turn away from my microphone. Yeah, the lip smacks are coming out. Right, all right, everyone, all right. I'll move it away. I'm sorry, okay? Listen. I might even turn my microphone down just in OBS here, because it's not too great at the moment. There we are. We'll turn it down. I'm a little bit more quiet, but now you won't hear all of my my swallows and stuff, and I'll even turn away. So hopefully that satisfies your need to not hear me having a drink of water. ASMR font, yeah, lovely stuff. As a safety car rolls on here, and the grid is going to stack up. And actually, it is very nice to see that Stahalek's going to get back in this race here. Of course, pitting at the end of lap number 1. He had damage, he had the pit stop. Now he's going to come back into this race. He can catch up to the safety car here and get right back into the action. So, the running order at the moment, Tom Martinez, not pitted yet. He could have gone on to set a hard, but he's opted to stay on this medium set. And he actually did this in Belgium as well, where he had the opportunity. I believe the first safety car came out in Belgium. So he had the opportunity to pit, and he didn't in the end. He kept really good pace with the soft runners, so that was fair enough, to be honest. As he's sliding around here. I hope no one bins it on the safety car. We saw an F3. I'm not going to name him, but someone actually spun on the safety car, completely swiped off his front wing. So I'm hoping that none of those drivers have the same fate. As a safety car's in this lap, so it is now Tom's discretion, Tom Martinez's discretion as to when and where they get back underway. As you can see, the safety car is going to disappear off into the distance. This is their last opportunity to get some heat into their tyres, especially for those on the hard tyres. They're going to have to weave like mad to get heat to generate enough grippers. Now flying through Parabolica. The safety car is not yet in the pit lane. That might actually make him back off. As no, he's going to pull off here. Tom Martinez restarting us here, and Jari Fitz already going to be onto the back of Neon, coming in towards turn number 1, 2 tenths, and that gap is closing between the pair of them. Can he go for the move up the inside line? He is going to go for it in towards turn number 1. Brilliant stuff from Jari Fitz there. Neon really had no defense, and he's up already in towards P2, and he's going to be tracking down the back of Tom Martinez very shortly indeed. Ruben Pedreño following behind Neon at the moment, who is in P3. He can't let Jari Fitz get too far away from him at the moment. As now here we come in towards the chicane, the De La Rozier chicane, if I'm not mistaken, riding over the curves down, cutting the chicane. I'd imagine that is going to be a warning for Pedreño, And Antoine Denzelski is going to be all over the back of him very shortly indeed. No DRS for 2 laps after the safety car comes out. Here we go down the straightaway. We're on lap number 9. We're a third of the way through almost. Chanakinchi on a set of these soft compound tyres. He's going to be 2-stopping in this one for sure. But he's going to have some brilliant pace in comparison to his rivals at the moment. And you can see he's already onto the back of Paris Borel. He does not have any time to waste. And there he goes already using up his ERS. Not even overtaking with DRS in towards Parabolica. He should get that move and make it pay off. Antoine Denzelski hunting his first points of the season in 5th position at the moment. He's currently following behind Ruben Pedreño and Shizu Neon. Neon, of course, on the older medium combat tyres. Dylan Warren puts the fastest lap in. Immediately taken away by Piotr Stahalek as Pedreño runs a little bit deep through the first corner and through the chicane. Denzelski is going to be looking onto the back of him very shortly. We've got to watch the battle for this lead. As here we go. Had a little bit of a cough there. Do apologise for the unprofessionalism as here comes Jari Fitz actually. He's looking onto the back of Tom Martinez, a little bit weaker at the moment given the tyre status. And of course, Jari Fitz just having the better pace. The pole man currently fighting for the lead of, I believe, actually the pole man's pole position, of course. Starting in P11, Tom Martinez, you get the free choice of tyres, but of course, you're all the way down in 11th. So that's why it's sort of the pole man's pole position or the back marker's pole. And those two, they're going to clatter together. Tom Martinez is going to stick to his gut, stick to his original strategy. His teammate out of this race, of course, causing that safety car as somehow what has happened there, Pedreño and Neon both running off the circuit, and it's all a shuffle about the order. I think Jeffrey Ritchie could try and look for a move. There's actually moved further up ahead because Ika Boehner tries to go for an overtake as Jeffrey Ritchie now fighting onto the back of Ruben Pedreño. I don't know where to look at this point. Chanakinchi could come out of nowhere and get a good run off the exit of Parabolica. They're all now going to run in tandem in towards turn number 1. Jari Fitz goes for the move in towards turn number 1. He's made that move stick very nice and clean indeed as all this fighting further back behind, that's going to lose them the gap that they need for DRS. Antoine Denzelski going to slip back into that one there. As they're all saying I need a drink, leave me alone everyone, I can do what I want. As Tom Martinez just trying to save ERS at this point, I'd say. You can see on the MFDs, Jari Fitz actually used quite a lot of his overtake to make that move stick. As we'll see through here, in towards the Lesmos, Tom Martinez going to have a helping of the DRS on Jari Fitz, but he might not go for the move just yet. And actually, Antoine Denzelski could be in the better position to go for an overtake soon, but Tom Martinez closing up to the back of Jari. I wonder if these two want to fight it out. As oh dear, big slide for Jari Fitz. It would have been very dramatic if he DNF'd once he's had such good pace in and out from Romeo as well. But here's Antoine Denzelski with a brilliant run out of Ascari. What can he do here? Coming in towards the corner. And out for the exit. If he gets a good run, he can go for this overtake. And I think he might actually try and take 2 for 2. But coming down the straightaway, DRS now activated. Fastest lap coming out from Denzelski. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to look to Tom Martinez? Tom Martinez going for the move in towards turn number 1. Here comes Denzelski. Can he go up the inside line of Tom Martinez? He could have gone for the move. He had the opportunity. He backed out. I think he wanted to keep DRS on the cards in front of him. But Tom Martinez back into lead of this Grand Prix. He went for the move on Jari Fitz. And now I think Antoine Denzelski could try and take a bite at the cherry, because here he goes. Possibly in towards the chicane. You can see he's gaining time, but he's just too far back at this moment in time to go for the lead. As oh dear, and he's actually ridden over the curb there. That's going to allow Ika Boehner, who he's had some sort of issue off the exit. Must have been just a huge snap of oversteer. And Pedreño's onto the gravel almost. He's just actually caught the runoff. Chanakinchi's going to look up the inside line of him and towards Lesmo 2. They're going to run wheel to wheel off the exit. The better grip of these soft tyres surely will pay off in the end. They're going to run still wheel to wheel. We'll watch us on board with Paris Borel, because they're going to run side by side in towards Ascari. And Ruben Pedreño currently falling down the order quite rapidly at the moment. He's currently just lost out another position. He could lose out to Paris Borel if he gets a good run in towards Parabolica. We'll catch back up with them in a bit, because here comes Antoine Denzelski, now only 2/10 shy of Jari Fitz. Tom Martinez doing a brilliant job of holding these guys off and running his race as well as he can. Here comes Antoine Denzelski, the move for the net lead, yet to score a point in the championship. Antoine Denzelski going to go up the inside line possibly. They're going to run wheel to wheel and towards the first corner. Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? It's going to be wheel to wheel. Jari Fitz gets the advantage, but Antoine Denzelski, can he have the better exit coming through Curva Grande? He's going to pull to the outside line possibly, but Jari Fitz just holds on in the end there. These two are getting very racy at this point, and this is all going to be helping Andreas Dormeyer because he's on the hard compound of tyres, and he's going to be laughing if these two burn up their mediums. He'll take advantage of them later on in the Grand Prix, so we have to watch out for him as Samuel Bean and Christian Hausmann having a little bit of contact, I think, there, as Norberto's going to slip on by past Samuel Bean. Samuel Bean down into 13th position, as Andy, now you see he's only 4/10 off the back of Antoine Denzelski here, as he doesn't seem like he's actually close enough to go for him. I don't think anyone's close enough to go for an overtake at this point. As well, they're all fighting at the moment, but I think they're trying to settle into a rhythm at this point in the race. Get caught in the DRS train. I wonder if Samuel Bean's got floor damage or any sort of damage. I'm seeing he's missing an end plate there. He's missing his front right end plate, and that's got to be the reason that he's losing so much time. You can see through the chicanes as well. It's going to be painful through Ascari especially, as Ika Boehner could be looking onto the back of Shizou Neon here. In towards turn number one. He can't go for a dive because Andreas Dormeyer is right in front of him, but he's going to try anyways. Around the outside line, contact between the pair of them. Neon trying to hold his nerve, hold his ground, and I think Jeffrey Ritchie's going to catch them both off the exit there. And Chanakinchi as well, going to go for the move. Ruben Pedreño going to jump past Neon. What about on the back of Ika Boehner, who's trying to fight back against Chanakinchi? He can't go for this move. What about Paris on Neon? No, he backs out. He does not want to go for a dive bomb there, as Jari Fitz and Antoine Denzelski battling it out. Jari Fitz, I think he might have let him through there. That's a very odd position to actually take a move for the lead, as he could possibly try and get him on the exit and go for it into Ascari, but I don't think so. We're at the halfway point of this Grand Prix, and I need to take another sip of water, so I'm going to back up very far from my mic so you don't have to hear that. You probably heard the splash from the water back in the bottle, but I tried to be very quiet there. As Jari Fitz, we're getting back into the action here. Jari Fitz looking onto the back of Denzelski. These two have been fighting it out very hard at the moment. He could possibly go for this overtake in towards turn number one. See Tom Martinez weaving down the straightaway, just to try and break the toe of the cars behind, as Paris Burrell manages to get past Neon. We'll actually ride the back of this battle. Neon's tyres not going to be feeling too great at the moment. He almost chops off the front wing of Christian Hausmann there. Norberto is going to say thank you very much. I'm going to take that position and absolutely laugh with it. There he goes with the move on Christian Hausmann, but Hausmann fighting back here on the inside line of Curva Grande. You can't run two cars into this corner. Contact between the pair of them, and now Christian Hausmann trying to hold it on the outside line. He has to back out, and that was the smart thing to do. And that was I think it was Stahalek running across the chicane there. He just cut the second part of it completely. Actually got a good enough advantage to overtake Hausmann. I don't think Hausmann would be too pleased with that one there. What about Andreas Dormeyer at this point? Doesn't seem like he can go for an overtake. Yeah, it just seems like at this point they're all following in a DRS train. So I think I can lower my tone a little bit, save my vocal cords. As Tom Martinez once again just weaving down straight away, trying to break the toe of the drive behind. And Jari Fitz closing the gap to Antoine Denzelski, but he's not close enough to go for the overtake. This is the trouble with DRS, as it's very difficult to actually make an overtake. As I'm just watching Andreas Dormeyer at this point, he's lurking in the shadows. He's not been too aggressive in this race. Been a bit of a pacifist so far. Jari Fitz actually rides the curve, and I think Andreas Dormeyer is going to take advantage of here. The weakened Jari Fitz and the pouncing Andreas Dormeyer. Can he go up the inside line? He can't. but that's lost Jari Fitz DRS to Denzelski in front of him. If Dormeyer can get a good exit here, he'll go for the move. We know Andy very well. As there he is, he's in the toe of the Alfa Romeo car, looking to the inside line at Ascari. Where are they going to fire out here? He goes up the inside line of Jari Fitz, who made the mistake in the early part of the second sector, but possibly he could fight him back here in towards Parabolica. And Denzelski also makes a move for the lead of this Grand Prix. Ikebana gets past Chanakinchi, who's left the session, unfortunately. As there they go through Ascari. Not Ascari, what am I saying? Through Parabolica. Jari Fitz seeking vengeance on Andreas Dormeyer. Goes for the move for P3. Net P2, and Jeffrey Ritchie could also look for a move. Oh, dearie me. That was a gap that was closing, but it might have been some moving in the braking zone. I don't know if any of them's got damage there. Ikebana's going to take advantage of that. I think Pedreño as well. They're going to run three abreast almost through Curva Grande. Not quite. Ikebana does take the position, and now he's going to block off Ruben Pedreño. Give him slipstream, actually, I think, to make the overtake stick on Jeffrey Ritchie, and he makes that move work. Nice team play from admittedly two drivers who aren't a part of the same team. So we've lost our deltas. Chanakinchi's back in the session. So we've unfortunately lost all of our deltas, but they should reappear, I believe, at the end of this lap. And I think also at the end of this lap we could be seeing some medium runners pitting, because Tom Martinez, he's using up some of his overtake now and he's getting a bit more aggressive. I think that means he wants to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Not too much action at the moment, and it's also very difficult to see if there's any battles without any deltas. As Tom Martinez, if he pulls off to the right side, yeah, he's coming into the pit lane. 17 laps on that set of the medium tyres. I think he'd be very happy with his stint being in second position, whereas his counterpart Neon, who's actually stayed out on circuit, going for one more lap. And yeah, he's going to come into the pit lane. We've got moved further back behind Piotr Stahelek on his recovery drive up the inside line of Norberto. Can he make this move work? If he can around the outside, that would be absolutely splendid. Absolutely riveting stuff here in F2. Goes for the move through Curva Grande. Norberto backs out. Good stuff there from Stahelek. He was my pick to win it as well. He was my pick to win this race. He's not quite in that position, but he's certainly got the pace to potentially be fighting at the front. And as I say that, he slides the car off the exit, but he manages to keep hold of it. And I'd say with the 7-lap fresher tyres than Neon, I think he'll be very pleased with how his pace is in comparison to the Red Bull car, who I'd imagine is actually going to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap. With Jari Fitz, we'll look back to that, the battle at the lead. Jari Fitz is now back within 5/10 of Antoine Denzelski. Dylan Warren takes the second time penalty of the day. And fight, oh dear, Dylan Warren, he's round and he's onto the back. Oh dear, that's his race done. And if there's a safety car, Neon is going to be absolutely laughing. Safety cars out here, and already the activity you can see in the pit lane. They're all coming in for a set of these softs. And oh dearie me, Dylan Warren out of this race here. And now I think Tom Martinez, he'll be fuming that safety cars come out at this point, but at least he can get closer to his rivals. Because if the safety car came out one lap earlier, he'd have been able to pit from the lead of the race. But he should still be able to jump all of these guys. And I'd say actually he won't be too upset with how this has gone. And yeah, he'll be just behind Ruben Pedreño. And you can see they've done what Denzelski did last time by. It's actually Denzelski leading this race. Denzelski has gone past the safety car because they missed the pit lane. So he didn't decide to let up for the safety car to come out. He's just decided to overtake it, take the delta, and then go into the pits at the end of this one. But we're going to have all of these drivers on a set of these soft compound of tyres. Lap 19, we're going to have at least 2 laps under the safety car here. We'll see how that all goes. And there we are. The running order at the moment: Antoine Denzelski, Jari Fitz, Andreas Dormeyer, and then Ikebana. All the drivers that haven't pitted at the moment. We'll see where Pedreño actually fires out in comparison to all of them, as we'd expect them to pit. You can see they're all trying to jump each other into the pit lane. Jari Fitz, he's staying out. Jari Fitz stays out on circuit. the bold strategy here from Jari Fitz. He doesn't decide to come into the pit lane here. He stays out on a set of the mediums. That doesn't really make sense to me. He'd still be fighting for the lead of this race. I don't know here. I think it might not have been the right decision for our pole sitter in this Grand Prix. As all the rest of them going to file out on circuit. We'll see where actually Rumpedreño is in comparison to them. He's going to jump. Ikabena, I think he just goes for that one. And yeah, Rumpedreño back up into P2 in this race, but it's Antoine Denzelski leading this race. And then, well, of course, Jari Fitz leads this race behind the safety car. But without that extra pit stop, might not be in a great position come the end of this one. As you can see, all of the drivers here, they're all just currently running in formation. Right, our peak viewership of the stream so far, 568 of you all watching the action here. 3 cars DNFing out of this race so far. Dylan Warren, Louis Welch and Oscar Villacampa, who didn't even make it past turn 1. Of course, we didn't actually see that crash. We didn't see Louis Welch's crash. We know it was at Ascari. And we caught Dylan Warren's sensational crash in full form. As Denzelski doesn't need to push at the moment to catch back up to the field. He can just go about his own pace. And see, there he is now. He's behind Jari Fitz. 13 lap-old mediums in comparison to completely fresh, pretty much just out of the blanket, soft tyres. You can see there's still a slight glimmer on them. Of course, the chrome that they always have when they're fresh out of the pits, and that immediately zips away once they start revving up the tyres. Start spinning the tyres. Jari Fitz, yeah, now he's got to commit to it. He has to commit to the strategy now, Jari Fitz, because if he doesn't, well, then he'll be right down the order. He'll probably be just ahead of Samuel Bean, because he's the only driver that's not actually caught up to the grid. Samuel Bean's just going to go out at his own pace. I think he probably wants to... He doesn't want to use up his tyres too much, but Jari Fitz, yeah, he might have completely messed it up this time last lap by not pitting, because Antoine Denzelski, there is a good amount of time between the pair of them, I'd imagine. As I've just noticed in our chat, we got a €1 donation from Alexander Kumper. Hopefully I've said that one right. Please correct me if I am wrong, because pronouncing names correctly is one thing I always want to do. I just heard a car. Was that car spinning off? That was a heart in mouth moment for me. My heart rate, I'm feeling my heart at the moment. That actually went up. I thought a car completely spun off into the wall. I heard the tyres spinning up, and then I thought what I thought was the sound of a wall banging. That might have just been some gravel. As wow, that scared me to say the very least. But Samuel Bean has caught up to the safety car, and it is in this lap. We're going to get back underway on lap 22 of 27. So we're going to have 6 laps of running in this race. Oh dear, what's happened there? Stahalek's gone for a spin, and there's also been contact between Hausmann. No, Hausmann's not got the penalty, but Get Owner's the penalty. Samuel Bean does not for whatever reason. So there must have been some sort of contact between the pair of them. As it's Jari Fitz's discretion as to when and where they start. You can see all these drivers trying to get a little bit of heat into the tyres before they get underway. When is Jari Fitz going to pull the trigger? You'll see once he goes, he has to commit to it. He can't stop, start, and he might go all the way up to the line here. As you can see, the pack just building in anticipation. We want to go, mate. That's what they're all saying. Jari Fitz pulls the trigger. We are back underway, and it's going to be an absolute Tesco car parking towards turn number 1. They're all running in tandem at the moment, trying to scrap for the positions. Here is Rumpedreño possibly going to the outside line of Antoine Denzelski. As you can see, they're all getting so close between each other there. Front wing has been lopped off, if I'm not mistaken. Further back behind, it's like a race starting completely, as Tom Martinez has got a yellow, he's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I wonder if any the front wing has been lobbed off. I thought I saw a bit of debris coming off the cars, but Pedreño has made the move stick for P2. Antoine Denzelski's going to have something to say about him because he comes back onto his rear. The Alpha Tauri car defending heavily from the Mercedes is Jari Fitz. Somehow on the worn out medium compounded tyres, he's actually bridged the gap to Ruben Pedreño, but surely he'll be closing up to him at a rate of knots. Here they go, lap 22 of 27, almost coming to a close here. We are in the twilight ages of the Italian Grand Prix. We'll see it right towards the end here as Pedreño defending from Antoine Denzelski at this point. Can he potentially go for the move in towards the parabolic, or maybe in towards turn number 1? Here they go in towards the final corner, turn 11, the parabolica, one of the most famous corners where we see the drivers surrounding for the final time as Pedreño closing up to the rear of Jari Fitz. Ikabena is going to have something to say about Antoine Denzelski because here they come in towards turn number 1, going to run wheel to wheel between the pair of them in towards the braking zone. They go. Baina's just got the inside line. He brakes later than Denzelski, almost going to the back of Ruben Pedreño, the fellow countryman of himself, as he makes that move sick. Antoine Denzelski falling back down into 4th position at this point, and now he still could be looking further onto the back of Ikabena as he's got a little bit of a gap further back behind actually to Jeffrey Ritchie, as old Pedreño gets a 3-second time penalty for riding over the curves and going off the circuit, as Jeffrey Ritchie looking up the inside line potentially of Antoine Denzelski. He's holding his nerve, holding himself up the inside line in towards Lesmo 2. Contact between the pair of them, almost got off the circuit there. Tom Martinez, here he comes in towards the straightaway. Oh my goodness me, they're still making contact between the pair of them. Don't crash into each other, lads, as here comes Andreas Dormeyer as well. They're coming for abreast almost into Ascari. Jeffrey Ritchie goes around, he's out. Jeffrey Ritchie out of this race. Safety car comes out again. Oh my goodness me. We're going to have a final shootout in this one. Jeffrey Ritchie spinning off at Ascari in sensational fashion. Clattered into the wall. And now out of this race. And oh wow. I think everyone needs to take a breather for that one there. Tom Martinez comes into the pit lane. He speeds in it as well. Wonder what's going on there with the Alpine car. As I wonder if he's potentially got wing damage. Probably he's serving his penalty, but of course he's taking another one for speeding, and yeah. Well, that should be a front wing replacement for him. Imagine the same for Get Owned. There it is, getting his front wing taken off. Tom Martinez out of the box. As I'm seeing people, they want to see the penalties. Here are a look at the penalties. Jari Fitz and Ruben Pedreño both have 3-second time penalties to their names. Ikabena, Antoine Denzelski without. Andreas Dormeyer's got 3 seconds as well. Shazoo Neon, Paris Borel, VRT Norberto, Chana Kinchi, Piotr Stahalek, and Samuel Bean. They don't have any. As Christian Hausmann 6 seconds, Tom Martinez with 5 for the pit lane infringement. He served the one that he got for ignoring yellow flags last time by when he actually came into the pits. And unfortunately there, he's got the other 5 seconds, so even if he wanted to get that removed, if he wanted to get out of the way, sort of all in vain at this point. And then Get Owned, the most of anyone in terms of the penalties, 8 seconds to his name at the moment, all the way down in 14th position. As I'm seeing a lot of controversy in the chat at the moment with all the drivers. I don't know. I'd say this race has been all right, to be fair. Of course, it's not over. But you know what? We'll divert our attention to the safety cars. We've had 3 so far this race. Let's turn our attention to who could potentially win this race. I think the clear-cut ones to win this race are Ikabena and Antoine Denzelski, but I want to hear all of your comments in the live chat. Who do you think is going to take this win with 2 laps to go? We're not even going to see DRS back in this one. You know what? I'm going to back Denzelski for this win. I think he's got what it takes. All he needs to do is overtake Bainer. Those two are going to go hammer and tong towards the end of this one. But you know what? They also can't take any chances on the fact that Jari Fitz and Pedreño might get a penalty removed. They could potentially get that penalty removed. if they've got warnings and such, so they can't chance it. They've got to go for the moves. So it's going to be a cracking last 2 laps here. As I'm seeing Jack L should win. Which Jack L? That's the real question. My money's on Jack Laverty. As I'm seeing love for Jari Fitz to take this win. Possibly. He's done well to keep these tyres in good check on the one stop. Yeah, everyone's saying that Jari Fitz might win this. He can't make any mistakes. That is completely right. Whoever's just said that one there. As I think I also missed a donation earlier. I'll read your name out very quickly whilst we're under the stage card period. Thank you so much, Hilson, for the £1 donation and your contribution to the PSGL YouTube channel. Thank you everyone for the donations tonight. As now the safety car's coming back into the pit lane. We're gonna have 2 laps of action here. It's going to be a lights to flag. It's going to be a green-white checkered, as they call it in NASCAR. I knew I'd get the terminology. Who can win this race? Who can make up the positions? The likes of Denzelski and Boehner, they've got the fresher tyres out the rest of the pack. As we'll see here, Jari Fitz doing what he did on the previous safety car restart, really stacking up the grid. And oh my goodness me, look at the camera angle here. We could just see all of the cars slowly passing by. I think Jari Fitz, he's got to pull the trigger when he actually gets to the line. So there he goes. We're back underway here, and already Ika Boehner goes for the move. Here's Antoine Denzelski, though, boxed in between the pair of them. He's trying to force a gap where he can, as Pedro's going to try and defend this one in towards turn number 1. There goes Ika Boehner up the inside line. Pedro runs deep, and Ika Boehner takes the position. P2 on track for him there. Antoine Denzelski going to do all he can to potentially overtake Pedro. He's got to lay it all on the line. Can he go for the move in towards the chicane? It might be a now or never thing, because he passes up opportunities to go for overtakes. That could be his race completely over as Pedro rides over the curb. Can Antoine Denzelski get a good exit here? Further back behind, more drama as a yellow flags. I think that's Chanakinchi off in the background as they're all swapping and changing positions back in the pack as Pedro causing a gap. He's given up a second to Ika Boehner, so it could be all over. Oh, as we see it here. Here comes Andreas Dormeyer onto the back of Antoine Denzelski, potentially in towards the chicane. He doesn't go for the overtake this time but now for the penultimate time they ride through Ascari. No more safety cars, no opportunities for drivers back in the order to take positions. Here comes Dormeyer in towards the Parabolica curb. Can he go for the move? He goes up the inside line despite having 3 seconds of penalties to his name. He goes for the overtake and he makes the move sick on Antoine Denzelski and Neon as well. 5th position in this one for Shazoo Neon. I wonder if Denzelski's got any damage because his teammate now on Paris Borrell's going to go for this overtake. Neon blocks to the inside line. It's going in towards turn number 1. Denzelski's going to have a look back up the outside line of Paris Borrell, and he makes that move stick as Ika Boehner now challenging for the lead of the Grand Prix on track. Can he go for this move on Jari Fitz? His tire's going to be completely off the cliff here. He doesn't go for the move this time by Jari Fitz, giving it all he can to defend his position as much as he can. As now through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 for the final times in this Grand Prix here. It's all or nothing for Ika Boehner, who's going to go to the outside line, running wheel to wheel down the straightaway in towards the Ascari chicane. The move is made for Ika Boehner. He leads coming in towards the final 2 corners. My voice completely going off the edge here. What a race we have witnessed today. As Paris Borrell, it might not be over for him because he's going to look for the move on Shazoo Neon coming in towards Parabolica. Can he go to the outside line? He doesn't actually go to the back of him. Here we see though Ika Boehner leading for less than a lap. He takes the lead at the final 10th of it. He wins in Italy. As on my word. That is the, oh my god. I was taking a sip because my voice is... I have to catch my breath after that one. Never doing commentary by myself again. That is... I'm going to have a sore throat tomorrow, everyone. But Ika Boehner wins this race in spectacular fashion, overtaking at the final part of the race. I believe Neon actually finished second. I think Paris Borrell was the final driver to get onto the podium. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What an end to this race. Here is a full comprehensive list of our grid order. Ikabania wins this race, but Neon take a bow from 15th on the grid. He comes in second position in the end. Paris Burrell from 17th in third. Who'd have expected that podium? Yari Fitz from pole finishes fourth. Fifth for Pedreño. Sixth for Norberto. Antoine Denzelski gets his first points of the season in seventh. Dormeyer in eighth. Ninth for Martinez. 10th for Piotr Stahalek. Just missing out on the points, unfortunately, is our championship leader, Samuel Bean. And I certainly think if he's not getting points, well then he might be losing out on a couple positions. He might not all of his positions, but he certainly could lose out to one of his rivals. There's Chanakinchi in 12th, 13th for Gets Owned, Hausmann in 14th. And then your DNFs in this race with Jeffrey Ritchie, Dylan Warren, Louis Welch, and Oscar Villacampa. But wow, wow, wow. And you know what? From the last race in Zandvoort, this might not have been the cleanest race in the world, but considering it was simulation damage, I'd say that the drivers actually did a splendid job tonight. So well done to all of them. Because it was brilliant to see really close action between all of them. As I don't know if we're going to get any interviews tonight. As well, that's the end of it. Thank you everyone for watching. Of course, I'm not going to end it off here, but thank you also for the concern of my voice. It is going to get better. I'm going to definitely have a couple sips of water after this one. Probably a whole jug of it actually. As what a brilliant race we've just seen there. The safety cars really playing into it quite heavily, because that was a crazy one to see. If we didn't see the safety cars, potentially we wouldn't have had such a crazy finish. Ikabena, take a bow. I don't know if he's watching this or anything, but I'd say he'd be best pleased with his performance today, taking the win on the last lap, the last corner. And you know what? He could have stayed behind Yari Fitz, but he decided to opt for the move, and that is something I really do admire in some league races. Of course, not all of them. Not all of them want to go for the moves. They might as well just sit behind. But some of them have the drive. They have the will to go for the overtakes and really cement it. As also there was the threat of Yari Fitz getting his penalty removed, so he had to go for the overtake, and that's something I do admire. Ikabena is your Italian Grand Prix winner. But next week we head to Great Britain at the first ever F1 Grand Prix held at Silverstone, and we're going to head there for PSGL ourselves. It's going to be a brilliant Grand Prix. But if your PSGL thirst has not been quenched and your PSGL hunger has not been satiated, well, do not fear, because tomorrow we do it all again in F1. Of course, this is F2. Tomorrow is F1 on the PC platform, boasting some of the fastest drivers we have seen in league racing history. I insist that you all watch that one, because if it's anything like we are seeing tonight, we are going to be in an absolute treat. As that race going to be held and commentated by the wonderful George Morgan and Jack Canan. They'll be on at 7 p.m. Tomorrow on the Thursday evening. But from me, what was a very difficult race to commentate on, but what a brilliant one it was to witness. I say thank you to you all for tuning in tonight. We go next week again, same time of 8 p.m. at Silverstone, one of the greatest circuits of all time, one of my favourites as well. Cannot wait for that one. But from me, it is thank you and good night. Stay safe, everybody, and we will see you very soon.